Beep, 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 beep. Hello, everybody. How are we? Welcome to the court of the Edijester. How are we doing? Got a very important piece for you today, which is taken from The Times and written by the marvellously eloquent Janice Turner on the subject of the problems of the scrutiny, I suppose you would say. As the title says, no one is above scrutiny where the child is at risk. This seems a particularly appropriate topic, considering what happened at the Manchester Vigil. For those of you who have not seen what happened at the Manchester Vigil, I suggest you go and have a look. It's on my Substack and on my YouTube. So let's have a see what Janice has got to say, and then I'll give you a few things that I think we should consider and need to think about, because this is a very important topic that is not going away. For years, Children in Need gave money to an LGBT charity tainted by child abuse. Why did it get a free pass for so long? A question we could, as a society, do with answering. In 2009, 8 men were convicted of running the most depraved child sex ring in Scottish history. But I remember this so well. Besides sharing the worst categories of dark web paedophile abuse, they fantasised about gaining access to a real child. One of them, James Rennie, was trusted to babysit his godson, the child of university friends. So starting when the boy was 3 months old, Rennie filmed himself sexually abusing the child, then shared the videos with the other men, suggesting it would be hotter if they came along to join in. I can't get my head around that. I can't. 3-month-old baby. Psychopath. Absolute psychopath. He was given a life sentence, but he was the head of LGBT Youth Scotland. Joining the charity in 1997 and becoming chief executive in 2003, Rennie's trial heard that he often accessed his special sex ring Hotmail account, KP Lover, kiddie porn lover, at work. You'd expect the Scottish charity regulator to launch an inquiry to ascertain whether Rennie had access to vulnerable young people, or how being led for years by a predatory paedophile had affected office culture and safeguarding. But it did not, nor did the police forces that had exposed the sex ring investigate LGBT Youth Scotland. Both accepted it in its internal investigation, which concluding that everything was fine. Even more extraordinary, 7 months after Rennie was jailed, BBC Children in Need decided to award for the first time a grant of £24,000 to this very same charity. The charity turns down 90% of good... The charity, which is the Children in Need charity, turns down 90% of good causes that apply for funding, yet money raised by BBC viewers was given to a charity whose outgoing chief executive, sexually abused a baby. Look, when there's an abject failure of such a nature, and then to go and give it that much money, it gets worse, right? It gets worse. Indeed, Children in Need has continued to find LGBTYS Youth Scotland for the last 14 years with a total, they've funded it with a total of £466,000, £500,000, until this week when it abruptly terminated funding. Why? Well, because last month Andrew Easton, a co-author of the LGBTYS 2010 Guidance for School, was convicted of sharing indecent images of children as young as newborns and attempting to groom online what he thought was a 13-year-old boy was in fact a police officer. For Children in Need, this was the final straw. Was it? The baby wasn't enough. This was the final straw. It's just beyond me. It really is. In 2022, 2 men said they were groomed at LGBTYS around the time that Rennie was chief executive. Sam Carey, that's our Sam online, who's been indomitable in raising the flag about these people, now 28, was 15 and in foster care when he was given cigarettes and alcohol by staff, then taken underage with a fake ID to clubs where he was assaulted and raped by older men. The second claims he was groomed by Rennie and one of his sex ring associates. The culture of the charity, he says, was like a social network to connect older men with teenagers. In response, LGBTYS suspended a staff member and has referred itself to the police. After these revelations, somebody's been turning a blind eye. After these revelations, at a tense board meeting, In May, Children in Need's Chair of Trustees, Rosie Millard, proposed LGBTYS funding be suspended pending an inquiry, but then came Easton's conviction, with the BBC charity at risk of serious reputational damage. Senior figures argued it should quietly pay the last two tranches of money in LGBTYS's grant, rather than risk the wrath of activists by publicly defending it. But Millard prevailed, and Children in Need finally cut ties. My God. My God. But even before these two recent scandals, LGBTYS raised numerous red flags. Its stated charitable purpose is to work with young people aged over 13, yet its champion scheme operates in 40 Scottish primary schools. 40 Scottish primary schools. Its 2017 schools guidance, funded by the Scottish Government, stated that a child must be allowed to choose whichever changing room matched their gender identity. A girl upset at undressing with a male should wait until after the trans young person is done. Likewise, on overnight trips, schools should permit a male pupil to sleep in female dorms, and with no need to inform parents. This guidance, after opposition from women's group, was removed. Go the women. LGBTYS has also campaigned for the prescription of puberty-blocking drugs, banned after the Caste review, advised girls online to bind their breasts, referred children to the trans charity Mermaids, which is now under investigation, and demanded schools not inform parents if a child socially transitions. Extreme ideas that few Children in Need fundraisers would support. Keeping secrets from parents, compromising children's privacy, discussing sexuality with very young children, swerving at official scrutiny, even after being led by a child rapist. LGBT charities have lately been granted a free pass on safeguarding protocols afforded to no other organisations. And many gay men are horrified. They abhor drag queen story hour where men in dresses twerk at toddlers, child drag artists performing in gay bars, or little children colouring in pride fags. The oldest and gravest homophobic slur, the justification for Section 28, was that gay men can't be trusted around children. The myth was rightly demolished, yet since then a collective guilt has tipped the scales the other way. Anyone who raises safeguarding concerns about LGBT groups or individuals risks being called a bigot. Now, I'll leave you to read the rest of that, okay? But you get an idea of what Janice is discussing here within the article from what I'm saying to you. I really gave this a lot of thought. It's just awful. But this is what we are seeing. I know that people have written to the safeguarding team at Manchester about the vigil, and I had nothing back. Or pablum, nothing. They don't get it, right? That there are red flags. Now, you don't get round safeguarding. Why don't people understand this? Okay, and if anybody reacts badly to somebody saying, let's do a safeguarding inquiry, then that's a safeguarding risk in itself. Safeguarding is not something you get around, and it seems to be that a lot of people think that it is. But there's a common thread here that I think is a real huge problem, and that common thread is this. In order to put right past wrongs, certain people are given a pass. From Rotherham, right, through to this. So what we've got is this intersectional nonsense is getting in the way of safeguarding. Well, you can't do that because they're a sacred caste. We're setting up sacred castes. And when you set up sacred castes, those sacred castes will be infiltrated by child abusers. It is what they do. And it doesn't matter what the sacred caste is. Ask the Catholic Church. It doesn't matter what the sacred caste is. So this intersectional nonsense and this grievance nonsense, we must right the past, everybody's original sin, all of that is causing this. Because it means that we don't only have two-tier policing, we've got two-tier treatment of people, depending on the abusability of their identity. Janice uncovers something really important. It's something that should give us all pause for thought. And meanwhile, I still wait for Manchester Safeguarding to get back to me about what happened at the vigil the other night. There we go. Keep going, folks. Keep going. This is good stuff from Janice. Come be a warrior teacher, right? We need you more than ever. I'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.